We're still in the book of Nehemiah, and we're looking at lessons in rebuilding. And you may not feel like you're in a place where you're rebuilding, but actually, we're always starting, finishing, beginning again. We put things together, they fall apart. We need to rework it. We're always starting something new. And we look to the book of Nehemiah for lessons in how do we start again? How do we recapture something that we had, or maybe to simply move forward in a better way? And one of the key things in rebuilding is the character of leadership, and that's what we're going to look at today. Nehemiah comes from Persia. He's a Jew in exile, and he comes to help rebuild the city of Jerusalem after it's been laying in ruins for 70 years or so. What kind of leader do you need? Our focus tends to be on, well, we need the right person, the right skill set, the right personality, and that's not where the scriptures begin. Not that skills are unimportant, but it begins with character. And how do we establish that proper character? That's what we'll look at today. We're in Nehemiah chapter 5. And as Nehemiah is in the midst of this project, we see two challenges before him. One is that as they're rebuilding, people see an opportunity for business and they start taking advantage of one another. And Nehemiah wants to put a stop to that. But also the temptation for him to use his authority for his own purposes, for his own benefit, the abuse of power. So I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to read from Nehemiah chapter 5, beginning at verse 14. Moreover, this is Nehemiah writing, from that time I was appointed to be their governor in the land of Judah. So King Artaxerxes made him the governor. From the 20th year to the 32nd year of Artaxerxes the king, 12 years. Neither I nor my brothers ate the food allowance for the governor. So there was this allowance given from the government, and they were allowed to take it from the people, kind of like a taxation. And Nehemiah says, I didn't take it. I didn't take it. The former governors who were before me laid heavy burdens on the people and took from them for their daily rations 40 shekels of silver. Even their servants lorded over the people. But I did not do so because of the fear of God. The fear of God is at the root of this behavior and his character. I also persevered in the work on this wall, and we acquired no land, and all my servants were gathered there for the work. Moreover, there were at my table 150 men, Jews and officials, besides those who came to us from the nations that were around us. Now what was prepared at my expense for each day was 1 ox and 6 choice sheep and birds, and every 10 days all kinds of wine in abundance. Yet for all this I did not demand the food allowance of the governor, because the service was too heavy on this people. Remember for my good, O my God, all that I have done for my people. Nehemiah, because of the fear of the Lord, chose to serve the people as opposed to put demands on them that they serve him. We can talk about what the fear of the Lord is. It's not fundamentally being afraid of punishment, but more an awe of God, particularly in light of his love and commitment towards his people. He is a holy and just God, and yet he shows grace and mercy towards us. What character should that elicit in us, particularly in our leaders? It should elicit a service mentality. I was reading or listening to an interview by business and leadership consultant Simon Sinek. He wrote many books. Start with Why, The Infinite Game. He had this interview with Lieutenant General George Flynn of the Marines, and he's, as part of his studies, what makes your organization great? What makes your management system great? And he asks General Floyd, what makes the Marines so great? And Flynn responds, officers eat last. When it comes time to eat at the mess hall or in the field, the enlisted eat first. The officers ensure they have what they need, and then the officers, the leaders, eat. And this communicates that authority and power is in service of others. In the entrepreneurial world, you're taught, hey, you need to pay yourself first, and then you worry about everybody else. This is common. This is ordinary. But frankly, it's self-centered. I get it. I understand the impulse, but it is fundamentally self-centered. What enables self-sacrifice? Well, I would say knowing that the Lord has you. The fear of the Lord. He is awesome. He's great. He could demand great things from us, but he serves us. And that should elicit a kind of awe. And in response, we seek to be like him. Power in service of others, and knowing the Lord loves us frees us up to love one another, to let each other eat first, to throw ourselves on top of the other person when we hear gunfire or a threat of some sort. And that was the title of Simon Sinek's book, based on this: Leaders Eat Last. It's a great slogan, but it's more important that we live it out. If we put it into practice, it is a powerful reality and testimony to the greatness of God, but also his graciousness and the credibility of the Christian message. Leaders eat last. What did Jesus do? He gave himself for us. He came not to be served, but to serve. Let your fear of the Lord lead you in that same path. Blessings on you all.